Hello and welcome to the Showdown, a new show where we, make Noah Taborda and Jake Liker argue against each other. I'm Carl Mogline, your host, and thank you for joining us on this inaugural show. I would say go like the Facebook page, but it's not there yet. It may be by the time you listen to this, so please go look for it on Facebook. I apologize if it isn't there yet. I will be making one soon. This is the Showdown. I'm Carl Mogline. I have a Twitter, at Carl_PM. We have our contestants, Noah Taborda and Jake Liker. Jake, why don't you start because I completely biffed your name.
Well, first of all, I think we need to start with our first debate. Now on the intro should be the Showdown with Jake Liker and Noah Taborda. Because, make no something with Jake and Noah just sounds better. Like, even if he wins, just at least give me that dignity. My name's Jake Liker. I have a radio show. It's called Rookies Roundup. It's pretty cool. Follow it on Facebook because some of us have actually already put up our Facebook page. Sorry, Carl. We've been around for 39 episodes, and by we, I mean me, Rookies Roundup. So 39 page, like that on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. Liker.
Okay, let's get this straight. Jake doesn't do the show on his own. In fact, it's basically just me and Carl talking and Jake.
No, sorry, I didn't mean that.
Hey, let's save the arguing for the actual show. Hey, both of you settle down. Jake, you said you would listen if I talked. Yeah. Noah, your turn.
I'm Noah Taborda, and like Jasper Weatherby, I don't try to show the flab on the underside of my arm. As we keep going, though, you can follow me on Twitter at Noah Taborda. That's with a capital N and a capital T. You can also follow me or like me on Facebook, Blake and Noah LA to Chicago. You can also like my page, which is just Noah Taborda, but nobody likes that page anyways. I got bored of that page pretty quickly. You can like Kicking It with Jake and Noah, our soccer show on Facebook. And, of course, you can like that show you wanted to listen to, otherwise known as Tiswold. And, yeah, that's basically it.
All right, I'm going to explain how this show works. On the Showdown, I'm going to go through a list of topics, each categorized within a sport. I will determine who has won the arguments on that sport and award them the win. We have 7 topics tonight, and whoever wins the most will be the inaugural champion of the Showdown. So let's get started and just jump right in with the NBA and free agency. Now I'm going to list free agents, and I want to give you I want you to give me your takes on them and where you think they should end up, and whether or not that's really where they will end up. We're going to start with D. Wade. Let's keep it snappy and start with Jake.
I don't know how to snap, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that for you. But I will be able to tell you that Dwayne Wade is going to stay with the Miami Heat because, let's face it, at this point, we're entering into the old veteran stage where all you really want to do is win. Like, you see how Derek Fisher went with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The older you get, the more likely you are to try and stay on a successful team right in their back. So I'm going to say that D. Wade is going to stay with the Heat. He's not washed up yet, but he is planning for the future.
All right, and Noah.
Remember, of course, back in 2010, when by unanimous vote, Miami-Dade County declared the area to be known as Miami-Wade County from July 1st to 7th. That's not changing. I can't see him going anywhere else. Unfortunately, Chicago is not enough of a draw. It may be where he grew up, but Miami is where his heart is. There's too much tradition there for him. He's played his whole career there, and most likely, as Pat Riley told him, they will build another championship contender, and he is the heart and soul of this Miami Heat team. There's no way he leaves Miami-Wade County.
All right, both agree on that one. Now to Bosh. Chris Bosh, the former Toronto Raptor, and you know what? He was sometimes the forgotten member of the Big Three, but really, when it counted, he often was a key piece to victory. So, Noah, I started with Jake last time. Let's start with you. Who do you think is going to end up with Bosh?
Wade's going back, and I think everybody who really knows the Heat knows that Bosh is no third wheel. He was a very important part of this team, and he played his own role. And when one member of the Big Three didn't show up, he was the player who did it. And he consistently played well. And you know what? I think people undervalued his role. And I think that Pat Riley understands what he means for this team, and I think he understands what he brings to the table. And in the end, I think that if Wade decides to stay, I don't think Bosh would go anywhere else. I don't think he wants to get himself involved in the Western Conference where there is a large contingency of teams that are contending for that one spot in the NBA Finals. he'll stay with Miami, knowing that that's probably his best shot of ever getting back to the NBA Finals.
All right, that sends us to Jake.
Here's the thing with Bosch. I think that he has become somewhat underappreciated, and if they want to keep LeBron around, they'll have to take yet another pay cut. At this point, I don't think Chris Bosch deserves to take a pay cut. So I think it's possible that he looks for another Eastern Conference team. Maybe he goes back to Toronto. In the end, I think he's going to stay loyal, and I think he's going to stay with Miami. But that could be trouble for keeping LeBron, and we could see a situation where Bosch and Wade are stuck in Miami without LeBron.
All right, just to go a little off script here. Now, this is another argument to be made. If LeBron leaves but Bosch and Wade stay, is Miami still a title contender?
Who's going first?
I would like Jake to start us off.
Well, if this last final series is any indicator, absolutely not. Listen, LeBron James is the best player in the NBA. Look, Bosch and Wade are two great players. I'm going to say yes, they could contend for a title. I don't think there's any way they would win it without LeBron, but stranger things have happened. Without LeBron, you have some cap space. You might be able to get someone else to replace LeBron in the Big Three. I mean, it's not the best player in the NBA, but it doesn't take them out of title contingency. I'm going to say I don't think it would happen, but they'd still be able to contend for one and maybe make a run playoffs.
All right, and then Noah.
Okay, so let's start with this. If LeBron does decide to leave and the two decide to stay, which is not going to happen because they're going to talk it out. They will talk to each other and figure out what they want to do because they have what many other free agents don't have, and that's control over this scenario that has been presented to them. Now, if out of some miracle it is only Wade and it is only Bosch on the Heat, they will have opened up a good $18 million in cap room to go out and buy other free agents. But nobody else buys anybody. If they decide not to buy anybody, I don't think they're a title contingency. They don't have any good role players at this point. Everybody's going downhill. Mario Chalmers, does anybody really want Mario Chalmers at this point? Udonis Haslem, also a free agent. Rashard Lewis and Ray Allen are both in the twilight years of their career. But if they do decide to buy players, there are plenty of free agents they could go and buy. Boris Diaw being an option as well. You also have guys like Patty Mills that you
All right,
can go out and buy as well.
Noah, I'm gonna end your time there, and we're gonna continue on. I got the point.
Okay.
That brings us to Dirk Nowitzki. Noah, please start.
Okay, Dirk, as we know, getting up there in age, he's got his title, and Dirk really has no allegiances to any team besides Dallas. He's played there his whole career, and I think he's staying there. I don't think he's going to go anywhere else. I think he wants to retire as a Mav, the place where he won his title, the place where he started his career, unless you're counting Wurzburg in Germany. But his whole NBA career will be played with the Mavericks.
Okay. Jake, does your opinion differ for that, or do you agree that he will be staying in the Big D?
He's not turning his back on Dallas. He's carved out a nice niche for himself there. He is a hero to the city of Dallas, as he should be as far as sports go anyway. I think that there's just no way that no good reason for him to leave. And look, he was able to carry that team there. Him and Vince Carter, they could be a team that actually makes a playoff run if they make a move in free agency. But Dirk's got to stay, and I absolutely
Can I just say, though, that Vince Carter is a free agent?
True, and that's another guy.
And he's going to go back to Toronto because that's where he started his career.
Wait, if Vince goes back to Toronto, is it possible that Chris Bosh goes back to Toronto?
Vince is not – I don't think Vince is that much of a draw to an NBA team. Even though he's great. Everybody loves Vince, but,
Jake,
but Toronto would have a sell bid.
But Kyle Lowry's a free agent too. That's the problem. Too many question marks.
Everybody's free agents, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is one of the bigger free agent years in a very, very long time when we're looking at this. That brings us to highlights on that team. Gordon Hayward. He's rookie contract's up. He's now a restricted free agent. you see him staying in Utah or looking for greener pastures, so shall I say. Noah, your opinion on Gordon Hayward?
First of all, yeah, he's restricted. So even if a team wants him, the Jazz have Gordon Hayward. Yes, I know. He's restricted.
He's definitely a restricted free agent.
Utah has a shot to re-sign him if a team wants to sign him. Utah now, what? They're loaded with talent. They have Burke. They've got Exum. They've got Derek Favors. They've got Enes Kanter. They've got Alec Burks. They've got Rodney Hood, Jeremy Evans, Rudy Gobert. It's so much young talent. And because the Jazz have the money to spend, they will spend it. He was their best offensive player. He was the catalyst of this team, offensively and defensively, and he's proven himself since coming out of Butler. I expect him to stay, even if another team wants him. The Jazz, really, if they didn't match him, it would be a shame.
All right, Jake.
Well, here's the thing. The United States have built a huge sort of lot in Utah in like middle of the desert, and they've set up a bunch of supercomputers there to store all the data. I think that Gordon Hayward is going to stay in Utah in hopes that he can break into that facility, find a way to build a time machine, and go back and save the world in 2010 by making that half-court shot to beat Duke. That highlight still haunts me to this day. Gordon Hayward, however, is going to stay in Utah for the real reason. And the real reason is he's actually able to shine in Utah. The stars don't shine bright in Utah, but as far as a Jazz player, he will be able to thrive there. I think he's built a nice place for himself there.
Are you bashing the Jazz? Because at one point they were actually quite the good team.
I'm not bashing the Utah Jazz at all. The Utah Jazz
stars can't shine? What about John Stockton and Karl Malone?
Right now, hold on. I was a Utah Jazz fan for a year or two.
You are an everybody fan. You're such a bandwagon.
No, he's not a bandwagon fan. He's a Derek Fisher guy. He's a Derek Fisher guy. He will not. You will see him in full-out Knicks gear because of Derek Fisher.
Knicks are my second favorite team now.
Oh my God!
It's true. Everybody loves D-Fish.
Are you saying?
Except for everybody who's a Knicks fan. I mean, except for everybody who hates the Knicks, which is most people.
All right. You know what? Let's. This show is not about debating Jake's fandoms, as much as we all love that. All right. I'm gonna say that Jake, nice comeback on the time machine point. That may combat your slight misstep on the Vince Carter. That brings us to Melo and LeBron with a very even match. Jake, Carmelo Anthony, one of the hardest players to see where he could be going. I want you to tell me where you think he should go, and is that the place he's going to end up? Jake.
I'm assuming that the mic picked you up because just not me. I can assume what you said though, so I'm just gonna go off of that. Where will Melo go? Listen, I think that, believe it or not, I think he would like to stay in New York, but I just don't think that's happening. It's not an ideal situation for him there, and much to the chagrin of New Yorkers and to the delight of Noah and the rest of Bulls fans and Bulls Nation, I think that he will go to Chicago, as reports are saying, and thrive in the second city, although it's the third city. LA is number 2 in population.
Your fans are horrible.
My fans are horrible. My fans have championships.
Oh, so do we, though. So not as many, but we have championships.
Hey, you guys, just remember, you're not Trailblazers fans. You guys, just hold that in your heart. You're not Trailblazers fans. All the pain, all the struggle. All right, Noah, your turn.
Yeah,
Melo.
That is true. Okay.
We're still Packer fans.
Even though I think people would like to predict it that easily, Bulls. But let's consider the other series. We got the Knicks, of course. We got the Mavericks, the Lakers, the Heat, surprisingly the Atlanta Hawks, and of course the Houston Rockets. All the Western Conference teams get rid of them. He's not going to go to a conference where a championship is not within reach. I think he wants to go to a conference where teams aren't necessarily at the same level as the Spurs. So the Knicks, unfortunately, I don't think they have what it takes at this point. And I think he realizes, look, he loves New York. He doesn't want to uproot his family, but he's got to win a championship, and he wants one very badly. The Hawks, honestly, really, do we see Melo going to the Hawks? The Heat don't have the cap space. I think they're going to re-sign the big three, so I don't think that's a choice. So that really only leaves the Bulls, and it prevents a beautiful big three with Rose, with Noah, and with Melo, also Taj Gibson and Jimmy Butler. Beautiful team. He's going to Chicago.
All right. So you two have both agreed on every single player up to this point. That brings us to LeBron.
I haven't said anything about LeBron yet.
I'm saying that brings us to LeBron.
Let's talk about LeBron. Sure.
Because we have it. Okay, Jake, minus points for listening, but we are to LeBron. This is what probably is going to decide this round of debate.
For the record, there was a delayed signal here, so I can't help but interrupt you. That was my mistake. By mine, I mean the supercomputer in Utah.
All right, Jake, you interrupted me to tell me you didn't interrupt me. There's a flaw in your logic there. Moving on to LeBron, likely the decider in this. You both agreed. I want you, and I'm going to say I will time you out on this. You get 30 seconds to tell me where LeBron is going to end up. I want 30 seconds, and that is all. Noah? All right, Noah, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Okay, with the extra time I have, which I will have, great job using the stopwatch. It's a great idea. Now on to LeBron. He's going to stay in Miami. And unfortunately, but he is staying in Miami, Carl.
All right, thank you, and that was well within your time. All right, Jake, can you hear me? Making sure your signal's good. Jake, are you good?
I can hear you. This is a delay, but I can hear you.
All right.
I'm good. Forgive me if I interrupt you, though. The signal's delayed.
Your 30 seconds to talk about LeBron begins now.
I think it's sort of become a three-way battle between Miami, Cleveland, and Phoenix. Apparently, LeBron wants the most money possible. Don't believe the reports you're hearing about Phoenix, because apparently they want to bring LeBron, Carmelo, and Kevin Love together. Phoenix is not a desirable free agent destination. Kevin Love's going to be going to the Golden State Warriors. Houston's in the race, too. I just don't see it happening, which leaves Cleveland and Miami. Look, Pat Riley was ridiculous in the statements he said about LeBron, but you know what? It's not as bad as what Dan Gilbert said in Cleveland, that he changed their pitch for LeBron when they drafted Shabazz Muhammad. LeBron says
That was the clock. One last sentence.
Okay, I really just have to say this really quickly. Houston is probably the best option besides the Heat because they have the core in place and they have the money to do it.
I'm sorry.
Pitch they're stretching to Melo.
But that's a moot point because that is past your third second.
That was time.
All
right, and this round, you know what? Coming into this, I did have some preconceived notions, and I hate to say it, Jake, you're not an NBA expert, and you couldn't quite pull the upset here. Close one, but Noah pulls out the victory on the NBA. All right, our next one's gonna be more. It's more.
Get an explanation.
What?
Do we get an explanation for why each person?
Oh yeah, Noah. More of the time he used facts to back up his statements instead of just sending them out. Noah will take the round. I like having evidence to back up your points, and I feel like sometimes he had better backed up points than you did, Jake. All right. Please try to keep it timely, you guys. This is, you know what? We spent like 20 minutes talking about the NBA, and we still have 6 topics left. I promise this next one's much shorter. You know what? It may only take a minute. Should we really care about it anymore? Jake, you know what? I'm going to let you go first.
I think golf should invest all their money into mini golf and make it a booming industry. If we could have futuristic mini golf, I would play it every single day of my life. Here's the problem with golf. According to Darren Ravel, I hate to quote him, but here we go. 60% of golf viewers are age 50 or over. I'm sorry, it's losing interest. People have shorter attention spans these days because of social media. How's this for evidence? We have shorter attention spans than goldfish. It's now 12 seconds to 10 seconds. So it's too much time for golf. I think as a spectator sport, it was dead a long time ago, and now we're just grasping for straws with Tiger Woods. It's not happening. I'm sorry, golf, but sooner enough, you will be dead. Enjoy your last days.
All right, Noah.
Golf is not dead yet, but it is at that point where it is in the hospital bed on life support, and it is that close to dying. Ever since Tiger Woods went on his downhill spill, it's been pretty bad, and now it's gotten to that point where nobody's consistently doing well. There's no favorite. Everybody wants to be favorite. Rory McIlroy, he just busted. Nobody's done well, and that's the biggest problem. Jake, I love your idea of having mini golf. In fact, I myself love mini golf. Here's one thing I would like to say. Luckily, goldfish do not watch golf because then even they would have these short attention spans. Honestly, it's gotten to that point where it's not entertaining. Can we have another scandal, please, in golf?
Yeah, if goldfish watched golf, they would not smile back.
Oh, that's true.
You know what? You two both had very similar arguments. I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and yes, we're going to keep using this 30-second clock because you know what? I like this feature. I want you, in a 30-second argument, using the timer, Jake going first, to tell me why your argument was better than Noah's. And then Noah to Jake. Jake, your time starts now.
Well, here's what happened. Last time I asked you why I lost, you said I didn't have to back up. So I made sure I did. Even though I had to quote Darren Ravel, there were simple viewership statistics. It's not just about the sport. It's about the people. It's about the society. It is about the culture. Golf is left behind because people have shorter attention spans. I clearly laid that out for you. And there's no going back on that unless you reverse social media, which isn't happening. By the way, that study was done by the UCLA neurological.
Ring, 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 and that is your time. And now we move on to Noah. Nicely in time, I got the point. Noah, your 30 seconds. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Your time starts now.
Well, like Jake said, let's first of all say this. It's not just the people, it's the sport. I think that the players, as I said, I focus more on the players. Look, the players have gone downhill. There's no consistency anymore. And I feel that what should be focused on more is how to improve the caliber of the play. How people – oh, okay.
Sorry, Noah. Weren't good enough on that one.
I'll stop.
You know what, Noah? You didn't quite have it there. We're going to give golf to Jake.
Okay, can we say this now? Can I make a statement? Why is golf rated the same level as basketball?
Oh, because I like doing this format. This is such a fun format. I've got to say, I love my format so far. This format is great because it gives the subjects of Is Golf Dead equal value as like major subjects. It's wonderful. I love this show so far. I love my little 30-second clock. You know what? This is a fun show so far, and I'm really glad I started the Showdown. You know what? Just because I don't say it enough, I'm Carl Mogline. It's Carl with a K. I'm on Twitter at Carl with a K _PM. I think I may have forgot the K earlier, which is a very dangerous thing, I gotta say. As a Carl with a K, I have been subject to many bad things. I'm rambling now, but we should move on to something that's very near and dear to my heart, NCAA football. Now we're going to be talking not about teams, but two specific, interesting topics. The first is booing college players okay. We have these kids who are sitting there going just for a scholarship. In other sports, it is not uncommon to have players booed. Is it okay to boo a college athlete, or in some circumstances, a high school? Basically, these amateur athletes, is it okay to boo them? You know what? I'm going to start with you, Noah.
Okay, so let's start with this. Why not? Look, these players are playing for your let's just take, for example, your rival team or the team that you just don't want to root for the particular day. Look, there's a beautiful thing about college sports, and I think that's the atmosphere. The atmosphere is presented at each individual game. There is nothing like college sports, not even professional sports. The emotion, the pride, everything that you have to take into account. And when it gets to that point, look, you are going to express your emotions, and for some of these people, they're going pro one day, so they should get used to it anyways. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see the emotion displayed during college sports, and I think for that reason, you should be allowed to boo them.
All right, Noah, thank you for your opinion. Jake, Noah says yes. What do you say?
You're welcome.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to point something about the emotion in between players. Ohio State played Michigan last year. We saw Marcus Hall leave the stadium and flip a double bird on the way out. We had a big fight. There was a lot of passion involved in college football, and purists say it's about passion. So you know what? If we're going to say it's okay to treat college players like indentured servants, then I'm sure booing is going to be just fine for them. Look, this is not what this is not a thing we should be debating about, but clearly since we are right now, I guess at this point booing college players is okay because there is a given intensity that you can only find within college football. It's the only collegiate atmosphere like that in this country, the United States of America. Beat Belgium tomorrow.
All right, some nice national pride. You know what? I don't always. You know, the show's about debate, and we should have some here. Noah, you want a rebuttal? I'm going to give you a quick rebuttal. Please keep it snappy, but yes, you can have a rebuttal to Jake's point, and then Jake, you can also have a counter argument to that. Noah, go.
So flipping the bird to the fans is the fans' fault? Unfortunately, no, it's not. I think there's a reason why they ban him and why they don't ban the Michigan fans. Now, when it comes to that, how are we treating them like indentured servants? Booing them is indentured servants. They're from the other team. When your team makes a play, you cheer them. And when their team makes a play, their fans cheer them. There's no indentured servitude there. There's just passion.
All right, Jake, your response to that.
I'm not really sure how that rebuttal works because the first thing I said, first you put words into my mouth. I didn't say it's the fans' fault. I was actually something I was saying to demonstrate how much passion there is, which you clearly are all about. So if this is about passion, I have sort of won this debate. Sort of. I'm really
convinced. Have you? I think you haven't.
Point two.
Hey.
This was just a shot. This was a dig at the NCAA here. I'm not saying anyone's an indentured servant. I'm saying that the NCAA is treating them about this. This is about passion. If you're not truly hurting them, they know it's part of the game. You have all of these fans here. It's just the way it works. And you know what? The players will relish it. It only makes you appreciate home field.
I'm gonna agree with both of you. You know what? If you can handle having to go up against Jadeveon Clowney, you can deal with a little bit of booing. I think you'll live. All right. This is an interesting topic, and I haven't heard it debated much. But it's how important is experience in college football? We see players like Jameis Winston coming out in their freshman year and winning national titles and Heisman. Same with Johnny Manziel. How important is experience in today's college game when we see major players being incredibly young and coming out and having very good success and you know what, leaving early as sophomores even and being known as the best players in college football? How important is experience? I'm going to start with you, Noah.
Well, if we're talking about the NFL game, transitioning to that, it's very important. But we're talking about college football right now. And unfortunately, it's not important anymore. It used to be so important. But then we saw it this year. Clemson, Florida State, experience versus no experience. And no experience won. I think the thing is now youth is able to overcome. And I remember Jake was talking to me about it. He said Clemson has experience, and for that reason they are going to win. Florida State came out and blew them out. It's not about experience so much in college football anymore. It's about the talent you have, the chemistry you have at that point, and how you play the game. Because, unfortunately, experience doesn't automatically give you talent. Otherwise, the older you are, the better you are, and that really doesn't work in those sports.
All right, Jake, your opinion.
When Florida State beat Clemson, that is when I had a turning point in this debate. I haven't looked back since. Times have changed. You see younger guys winning. The truth is, it is about talent. And in college football, experience does not necessarily mean talent, and that's because of the talent gap there is. The difference between a freshman and a senior is the difference between the best player and the worst player in college football is a much greater difference than at the professional level. So it is more about talent and less about experience because, especially with the coaching carousel, coaches changing a lot more in college as well, so you can adapt to new systems. We've seen it before. We've seen it again. You just look at the Heisman winners in the past 2 years. It's crucial here to note that it's about talent. Experience does not necessarily equate to talent, and that's why experience there's some importance, but it's completely dwindled.
All right, I'm going to give you now both 15, we'll give you 30 seconds, the 30-second clock, to tell us if you want to add on to the previous one, please do. Otherwise, tell us why you won this round. We are going to start with Jake on the 30-second clock. Jake, please start now.
Well, here's the thing. I said it was dwindled, but that doesn't mean it's diminished because there are some aspects in which experience is key, and I think part of that is discipline. We see guys like Jameis Winston and Johnny Manziel getting in trouble. True, they're younger guys. It's a lot of responsibility to handle as younger. So you know what? On the field, experience is not been as important, but off the field, it's becoming ever more important because this new responsibility is coming with it. Because they're so talented, they have to keep themselves grounded. So, how important is experience on the field? It's dwindled. Off the field, it's only become increased because of the talent gap.
Okay, Noah, you get your timing. Let me reset the watch now. Noah, your time. You ready?
Yep.
Go.
I would like to take a touch on the talent gap. Of course, that's now because people are leaving early, which makes it so the younger you are, I think more of a starlet. By the time you're getting to your senior year, that means that your freshman and sophomore year, you weren't quite at that level that these younger players were. Now, when we talk about talent and I think experience, let's just touch on this. These players do have experience, though, to a certain extent. They have experience winning in college and in high school football. They have experience leading their teams in high school. So to a certain extent, they do have.
All right, Noah, that will be your time. I'm sorry, Noah. That finishes your time. Okay, this was a very close one for me. To decide this one, I think I've got to look at the fact you both. Booing college football players, you both had a very similar argument, so it does come down to how important is experience debate. It was an interesting debate, but I think I'm gonna lean.
If you're not sure yet,
Jake on this one. I'm leaning Jake on this one, just by a little bit. Not by much. Not by much.
I knew I was gonna give it to you.
But just by a little.
Which I don't understand because you just copied my argument for the second one for the experience and then added in talent gap.
I think
there's no copying. I was going to say.
All right, hey! Let's keep it civilized, boys. Let's keep it civilized. Noah, while I liked your argument about how
I don't need an explanation. Don't worry, I don't. All right,
you don't need one. All right, that's fine. Let's move on to America's favorite.
For the sake of time.
For the sake of time, let's move on to America's favorite league. The most popular sport in America, and well, yeah, it's popular. The NFL. We got two topics for you, and really both of them have an either-or answer. Jimmy Graham is our first topic. Jimmy Graham, man or wide receiver? Jimmy Graham is currently up for arbitration. The Saints, let's call him offensive weapon for the time being. A term previously known because of Denard Robinson on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jimmy Graham had previously been called a tight end, but is arguing in arbitration that he should be compensated as a wide receiver, arguing that his abilities have been equal to when he's putting up numbers that are far beyond a majority of wide receivers in the NFL. Excuse me. Noah, I would like you to start on this.
Well, there are a couple of arguments. First of all, Sean Payton just testified that Jimmy Graham is a tight end, not a wide receiver. Why he did that? Probably for money's sake, but this guy is a wide receiver. I'm sorry. He does everything that a wide receiver does. He lines up where a wide receiver is. He catches the ball where a wide receiver would do. He runs routes that a wide receiver does. And he's been called multiple times a wide receiver in a tight end's body. That's literally what he is. But the only thing that I think is holding him back is that the fact that his Twitter account has him listed as a tight end. And if he lists himself as a tight end, it's going to be really hard to classify him as a wide receiver, or he himself to classify himself as a wide receiver. For that reason, I think in the end, the NFL will franchise tag him as a tight end, but I personally think that he is more of a wide receiver.
All right, Jake, your turn on the Jimmy Graham debate.
I think the NFL is going to rule him a tight end. It's sad, but it's true. They're a money-grabbing league. You can see how they've handled concussion lawsuits and safety stuff. It's really not about the budget. It's about money at the end of the day, so they're going to have them. They're going to classify him as a tight end.
I don't believe this is an NFL committee, is it? I think this is an outside arbitrator. Would I be wrong in saying that? But I would.
No, you're right.
Yeah, this is an outside arbitrator, Jake. This is not actually an NFL executive.
Can you
It's a battle between the NFL and the player.
Yeah, no.
Can you give me a solution?
Arbitrators are always outside. They never use inside arbitrators. That's how LDs do it. It's the only way to keep it fair.
Because otherwise they'd be paid by one of them.
Mm.
Oh, that's true. All right, then let's start over. Then I got some work to catch up on. Here's what we're seeing right now in this debate. It marks the way that the game is seeming to evolve. Because guess what? We're going to see a lot more of these arguments coming up. This is becoming an aerial game. It's focusing less about blocking. Look, you've got guys like Michael Finley. You've got tight ends turning more into guys like slot receivers. You have them tight ends in a wide receiver's body. We're hearing it all the time now. He's a tight end in a wide receiver's body. If each of us are actually like wide receiver, I think maybe it's time for a new position. I think slot receiver could become a new thing. But clearly, we're seeing a lot more of
slot receiver is the thing.
Between distinguishing a wide receiver and tight end. This is the beginning. This is going to be a hallmark case. And wait, and about the Twitter bot thing.
But you gotta lean to one side, Jake. You gotta pick a side. Jake, you gotta pick a side on this. I want one more sentence. One more sentence.
I think they're
tight end or wide receiver.
That he's actually wide receiver, and not because of the Twitter bio, but because at the end of the day, it's about money. I think he should be a wide receiver, but if you look at the Twitter bio, he writes a tight end, but it's because that is his official account, his official classification. He doesn't want to confuse anybody. He didn't want to start a debate on himself. I think it'd be stupid to decide something because of a Twitter bio.
We still got another debate on this, so no deciding yet. Johnny Manziel or Brian Hoyer? Brian Hoyer, I think he had a kind of a breakout year last year for the Cleveland Browns. I think he did. He put up surprisingly good numbers, and you know what? Now Cleveland's talking about an extension with him. Johnny Manziel is an encapsulating personality, and has stated that he would like to start. And Johnny Manziel, let's face it, sometimes gets what he wants. I want you guys to tell me, if you're the Browns, who are you starting week 1, and does that stay through the year? I would like to start with Jake, and let's keep this moving.
Oh, who's going to start with the Browns? Basically, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to what's going on in the training camp battle. You know, a lot of people think that Brian Hoyer had a breakout season last year, but guess what? The games he played against the Vikings, the Bengals, and the Bills.
The Bengals are considered one of the best defensive teams, though.
Hey, I agree with this. Hold on. Can you let me? Please do not interrupt me. I get my time. You get yours. He played at home against the Bills, home against the Bengals, and on the road against the Vikings, where he threw 3 interceptions. He did get injured, so there's an injury issue there. However, Johnny Manziel's only shooting himself in the foot by saying that he fully expects to be a starter. Really, it's just another Cleveland-style disaster there. I think that at the end of the day, they're going to go forward with Johnny Manziel because they're desperate. It's not like the past has been good for them, so they have to turn to the future.
All right, Noah.
Okay, so let's start with this. Look, though he did throw 3 interceptions, I think most people agree that he had a pretty good year in the 2 games he played, mainly because they won the games. And that was something that hadn't happened often for the Browns, because when he played, they were successful. And I think that's what matters in the end. Now, Johnny Manziel was saying he expects, not that anybody else needed more reason to dislike Manziel, but now he feels entitled to be the starter. It's going to come down to how they play, not how desperate they are. They did use a first-round pick, but it was a late first-round pick. And I think that if they are smart, they will go with Hoyer. If they want to win, they will go with Hoyer. However, they are desperate, like Jake said, and unfortunately, that oftentimes leads to the selection of the wrong quarterback that will not help them in the beginning. I think that Hoyer would be a better start. I think Manziel also would benefit better with some time on the bench to learn from Hoyer in the pro game, because it always helps, especially in the pro game, to learn from somebody who knows better.
All right, that is the end of NFL, and I'm sorry.
30 more seconds.
Oh, sorry, 30 more seconds. I was saying it was the end of the NFL so far, Jake. That's the end of the debates. Now we get to go to the closing arguments. We're going to start with Noah on this one. Noah, your time starts now.
Look, we've seen it many times. Aaron Rodgers needed it, and I think Aaron Rodgers is the number one example for that. Even Tom Brady had that time. Now we go to the other argument. I don't understand, Jake. You're saying this should be a new position, but there should have been a new position a long time ago when Tony Gonzalez came into the league and was a wide receiver, but didn't do anything at that point. So I don't think it'll do anything now, especially because really, as you said, the NFL is a money. They want all the money. They don't want.
All
to
right, Noah, that's time. Noah, that's time. Jake,
okay.
It's your turn.
Okay, that's good.
Well, you might have just made the same mistake that I made because it doesn't matter what the NFL says this is an arbitration committee. I think that there should be a position, but it's about the NFL wanting money. It's about the arbitration. With the Manziel lawyer idea, again, I think that lawyers should be starting, but this is Cleveland. It's very simple. Everyone is desperate for a new future. Cleveland needs a new future in sports, and they put all their chips on Manziel. I'd like some interrupting points, by the way, back from Noah.
I said Manziel. Also,
no.
Can I
your time is out, and Noah. Hey.
Okay.
All right. Please don't interrupt next time, Noah. But I'm still giving you the victory on this one because the fact is, Jake, you screwed up the arbitration argument, and I agree with. I don't agree. I guess I think that Noah has a better argument on the Manziel Hoyer situation, so I'm going to go with Noah on this one. That brings us to 2-2 with 3 topics left. College basketball, Major League Baseball, and FIFA. Yeah. All right. These I'm hoping to get through these pretty quick. So let's get moving. NCAA basketball. How do we fix the academic fraud epidemic? Academic. Yes, it's a word now. You guys, I want you to go, and you know what? I'm just going to give you. I want a minute 30 max. No interruption for the other person. How do we fix academic? Why do I keep saying epidemic? I don't know. Academic fraud. North Carolina just reopened the academic fraud investigation there. How do we fix this issue in sports in general, but specifically in college basketball, where it's shown to be a very, very large issue? Jake, you have a minute and a half. Your time starts now.
It's a tricky situation because while you want to set a certain GPA standard, there are societal disadvantages, and there are going to be people coming in that just do not have the book smarts that others do, and it puts people at a certain disadvantage. Also, if you set a GPA gap, you would set a precedent for people to take the weakest classes possible so they'd have the best chance to succeed. I think that there's got to be a way to monitor this. You have to completely crack down on cheating. If you are caught in a cheating scandal, you must be banned forever from the NCAA because it's unacceptable. It's very simple. No cheating. You've got to study hard. We have our limits right now. Keep them low. But at this point, cheating needs to be punished. It is despicable, basketball or not. It cannot be allowed, and the NCAA certainly cannot allow it.
Okay, Jake, you have 20 seconds left. Do you want to say anything else, or is that your point?
Oh, you said it. You looked like it was counting down. I'll continue, though. At the end of the day, there's a precedent you have to set. You cheat, whether it is in life or in college basketball or the academics, you will not succeed. You can't cut corners on the court. You can't cut corners on the books. There needs to be the harshest punishment possible that the NCAA can legally do and ban them from the NCAA if they cheat.
All right, thank you, Jake. That brings us to Noah. Noah, you have a minute and a half just as Jake. After this, of course, Jake, you will get a rebuttal. Noah, how do we fix academic fraud?
Listen to this, Jake. You cannot ban him. Are you serious? Are you serious? Banning him for life from the NCAA? He made a mistake. But like you like to say, people, and like I like to say, people deserve second chances. Because look, this guy, sure, he did this before, but now it's time to understand that people change, that people do better with their life because they realize, look, I may have thought this before, but I realize that my life is not only limited to basketball. What people have to emphasize is starting in high school, that basketball is not the be-all and end-all. There is more to life than just basketball, that we can get an education, we can get a real job if you do not make it pro, that they can be a business executive if they want to, if basketball doesn't work out for them. You know what you have to emphasize? You have to emphasize the importance of school, not the importance of a GPA, the importance of learning, not the importance of grades, because grades Grades are too. They're a number. Learning is something that is so much more expansive and gives you the knowledge to go out and do something with your life, not just be a brainless monkey wanting that number that grades your life, because we are people and we can do stuff with our lives beyond being banned and beyond basketball.
All right. Thank you. You're basically right on time. Jake, you have a 30-second rebuttal, and let's hear why you have won this debate. And, yeah, you got 30 seconds. It's going to start in 3, 2, 1.
In the forward society, I completely agree with Melbourne. But you know what? The NCAA is full of it, and they've been spewing this forever. If you want to know how you want to fix the academic fraud, I'm sorry, you have to come down hard. And on universities, too, because these aren't just players. These are universities that are altering grades as well. They need to keep closer tabs. The NCAA conveniently missed the UNC academic scandal after investigating on the campus for 2 years and finding, quote-unquote, nothing. It's ridiculous. So the NCAA actually has to make a commitment to this. And another way to make it a deterrent is to punish. I wish it was about learning, but it simply isn't, because the NCAA is full of it, and that's not the agenda they're pushing.
All right, Jake.
Hello? What?
Oh,
I couldn't hear you. Sorry. We had a technical error just now.
All right, 30 seconds.
We can't hear you, Carl. Your
You need to
headphones
speak
are
closer. Come closer to the microphone and speak.
All right, I should be fine, but
There we
I'll
go.
try to talk louder. Noah, 30 seconds,
Okay.
starting now.
Okay, let's start with this. Look, unfortunately, you don't start it where it's already gone on for many years. You started at its root. You started in high school. You don't start it in college, because by then you're already having to punish them. Make sure it doesn't happen in the first place, so there's no need to punish them. Look, if the NCAA wants to make a difference, it will not be changed in college. It will be changed prior to college. And if you come down that hard on people, then there are certain people whose future will be ruined. And I think that's just unfair to them, because, unfortunately, people make mistakes, Jake. If you were caught cheating once, would you want your whole career to be determined based on that? I don't think so. I think we allow them to move forward and do better in the rest of their lives through high school.
All right, in the case of NCAA...
If I may,
Hey,
as
no,
well,
you may not. No, you may not.
Cannot introduce
No,
the
you
new
may
point
not.
in the final speech.
You may not. I
That
introduced...
wasn't a point.
That was the final
That was a
speech.
new point. The final was new.
That doesn't matter.
The high school was the whole time.
What do you mean? Then how
Yeah, nope. Neither of you any more words, or I will give the topic automatically to the other person. Thank you. In the case of NCAA basketball, it goes to Jake. The reason for decision on this one is that Jake offered a solution. Jake offered a solution immediately while Noah introduced his after the first one, which was just talking about the concept of learning without offering any real-world solution. No arguments against it. No arguments against it. Moving on.
No, that's even Jake knows it. Jake, do you agree with me? Can you agree with me here?
I can't, because you're not allowed to add a new point in the end. I was surprised because I thought you would take into account your new point.
Hey, both of you. Moving on.
I said high school.
Hey, moving on. Jake is up 3 sections to 2. Noah, you got 2 more sections left. We're coming up to MLB. Let's see how you do. All right. We need to move on pretty quick. Computer battery's running low. We'll try to get through this. In the MLB. All right. 2 topics. First, Manny Machado has lost his appeal to get his 5-game ban overturned. He, let's just say he flipped a bat, but it was after a lot more. He hit a catcher with a bat. He got really mad because somebody tagged him a little too hard. Let's just say, is this ban excessive? 5 games for Manny Machado, too much, too little, or just right? Noah, you're obviously not very happy with me, which means you're obviously in a much better mental state to talk right now. Noah, go.
Oh, I am definitely in a better mental state to talk right now. Let's start with this. If they are right, if he did intentionally throw the bat in the direction of the mound, or in the direction of the field, then it is obviously a worthy ban, because that's unacceptable. You cannot be doing childish things like that. You are an example for children everywhere, because children see what you do, because you are under the finest microscope. They see everything that should do. And a similar case happened before, and it was 4 games. So I think that's good. I think that is acceptable. That's a great ban to have. One more game, it's not going to make that big of a difference, but it points out to everybody, look, we have had enough of the action that's going on. There has been enough violence this season, and it has to stop. Otherwise, we will start coming down on you, and you will be punished. And it will go up. Slowly but surely. The more of these actions, 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, and I think it's a beautiful ban. I think it's perfect, and I think it sets the tone for the rest of the season.
All right, thank you, Noah. And Jake, your opinion on the Manny Machado ban. 5 games. Is that good? Is it bad? Or is it or could it be more?
Okay, I think 5 games is just right. I think this is sort of cumulative with Machado. What he has started, when he got upset because they tagged him a little slightly and now the bench is cleared, which is completely another story. But the fact that he is sparking these arguments again and again, he's tossing the bat. He was on fire right now, and someone needed to put him down. And I'm not talking fire in a good sense. I mean he was in an angry sense. This is the proverbial bucket of water that the MLB has dumped on him. He was getting a little too big for his britches. He was getting a little too fiery. And so they put him in this place perfectly with this 5-game suspension, not only because of flipping the bat, but because of prior suspensions, even if you're not positive if you flip the bat.
All right.
Because of prior incident.
Hey, let's move on. All right. Agreements that the ban was right. I could have gone for a couple more games, but you know what? It's in that range. I was 4 to 8 games was where I was okay with. All right. Baseball has become, well, let's just say, some people think it's very, very boring. There has been the idea of having a pitch clock, somewhat similar to a play clock, so that there's some speed added to the game. However long it is, we don't know. But does the game need some speeding up, and is the pitch clock? And I really want to know about the pitch clock. That's the right solution. I would like to know. Now let's go with Jake. Jake, you can start this one out. Jake, pitch clock. Your opinion. Jake, your opinion on the pitch clock.
Sorry, dude, you gotta stay close to your microphone. Okay. Here is my deal with the pitch clock. We need a way to speed the game up because, as I said earlier about the attention span ideal, this is not about the game. This is about society, and there are too many. Baseball is riddled with archaic thinkers in the same way without allowing it to progress. Because you know what? I hate to say it, but if it stays like this, baseball viewership ratings have gone way down. NFL Sunday Night Football game in Week 5 got more viewership than an ALCS playoff game last year, according to the Nielsen ratings, by 7 times as much. So, clearly the MLB needs to find a way to make money off of TV revenue, and it's an issue because it is too slow and it's not keeping people in tune. So, does there need to be a pitch clock? Yes. There needs to be a pitch clock we'll start at 25 seconds, but there's an issue with pickoffs.
No, Jake, I'm sorry. Jake, this is about the pitch clock. Jake, we're moving on to Noah.
No, it's about the pitch clock.
This is about
pickoffs on the pitch clock.
No, it's about the pitch clock. It has to do with the pitch clock.
All right, move on.
Just like we can't interrupt you, you can't interrupt us.
I was ending you because I thought you were going off topic. If you're on topic, continue.
He can interrupt us, though.
Yeah, and I can interrupt you, so please continue.
But still, okay, I'm going to do. Here's the thing. There needs to be a rule for how long you can lead off. Because here's what happens. If a pitcher decides he wants to take more time, if you've run down to 24 seconds, he can step up to the mound, try to pick somebody up, and the clock starts over again. So we have to find a way to eradicate pickoffs at some point, or at least have a less pickoffs per at-bat, because then they could just easily manipulate the pitch clock. So
all right, Jake, I get your idea. Thank you for telling me that. Noah.
Okay, the NCAA, this is a point you should have probably brought up. The NCAA has mandated a pitch clock, and it makes the game a lot quicker. It's more efficient, and it's a 20-second pitch clock. Look, it's a great idea because baseball is the pastime, and it's just that, past. And they need to figure out a way to make it the future again. And one of the ways is to make sure that we are attentive at all points, because if there's any gap, we're going to go up and get hot dogs to eat because we are too bored to watch that gap in between. And, of course, attendance is going down too. Teams will lose money. It's time for the pitch clock. It's time for some innovations in baseball because innovations are coming too slowly during this day and age in baseball.
Oh, you both were pretty close on this one. I'm gonna lean Noah. Barely. And I don't want less points. You both were the exact same arguments on this one, and I have no time left because my computers are really, really about to die, Jake. Like, really about to die. We're going to have one more topic. You two are 3-3 for the inaugural championship on The Showdown with Carl Milline at Carl_PM. That's with a K, and at Jake Laker, who is Jake Laker, and at Noah Taborda, capital N, capital T, and he is Noah Taborda. This is the final topic. It's about FIFA. FIFA, the most corrupt organization possible. Should we add more replay? The refs are crazy. May the best argument win more replay, yay or nay? I want you to both give me a 1-minute argument. No second rebuttals, no anything else. You get 1 minute. Noah, as the head soccer fan, please, you can start. You get 1 minute to tell me, should FIFA add more replay? Go.
Well, Carl, as you know, being a soccer player just like myself, the flow is so important to the game. That is why we have advantage. That is why the foul is not called right away, because it could end up with a player. If there is replay, the game is slowed down. Momentum can change in those gaps, and unfortunately cramps occur in gaps as well. So that opens up the injury concern as well when you're slowing down and speeding up and slowing down. Look, there shouldn't be that much more replay. Maybe you add a little bit more, maybe on offside goals. But if you're adding countless amounts of replay, then that becomes a slow game. Didn't you just want a quicker game to make it more exciting in baseball? So why would we slow it down in soccer? Soccer is one of the few sports where we have continuous action, and though there are wrong calls, it is still the beautiful game. It is still the most popular game in the world. And I don't see many reasons to change it. We just added goal replay. Let's see how this works out first. Then we can add. That is my argument.
All right, thank you. That was perfectly in time. Just a quick note on the goal replay. It's worked seamlessly. There's been a couple calls that were very close, and they would have been very close, but there was no question about them because the ref immediately could call them goal. I've loved the goal line technology so far. I've got to say, it's been phenomenal so far. Noah, thank you for your argument. Jake, your minute starts now.
Listen, Noah's more experienced with soccer than I am, but I can tell you this. Flow is important, but you know what else is important to momentum? The score. It's all fun and games for soccer fans until it's their team that's on the wrong side of the chopping block. How about Mexico fans? How about Bosnia fans? How about every single team who has been screwed over and will be screwed over because for some reason we don't want to innovate? Last time wasn't about speeding the game up, it was about innovations. We have technology, it's time to use it. Look, at some point it becomes excessive, but I'm talking about on penalty kick calls, we need review to make sure it's actually a penalty. Because you know what? Mexico might be here right now. Mexico is the perfect example of who has been completely swept aside because of archaic thinking to not implement new technology that we are able to utilize. It is ridiculous. No matter how important the flow is, the score is 2. It is time to stop tarnishing these games and put in some instant replay. We can deal with the flow. It can't be excessive, but at least on penalty kicks.
All right, Jake, thank you for your argument. We got 15 seconds back to Noah. Very little time left. Computer's about to die. Okay. I apologize. Actually, Noah, 15 seconds, go.
Well, actually, Mexico may not have benefited because there was actually a call earlier on the game that many thought were a penalty when they butchered a Netherlands defender. So Mexico could have found themselves losing at any point anyways, and it would have been tied. The whole flow of the game got changed. You know what? Mexico may not have benefited from that in the end.
All right, time. 15 seconds, that's where it went. It's a quick time. All right, Jake, the last argument on the first episode of The Showdown. I got to say, this is a very close round and a 3-3 game. Jake, you could take the title here. You have 15 seconds to tell us why you win this argument and maybe win the inaugural episode of The Showdown.
2 botched calls in the round of 16 game. Not 1, but 2. All the more reason to put in more instant replay. It's time to fix this. This is about innovation. The show has been about innovation, adapting to culture, and right now, soccer needs...
All right, there you go, Jake. That was all 15 seconds you get, Jake. That's all. I'm sorry, it's a very quick clock. I apologize, but this is the show. All right. The final decision is Jake Laker wins. He used Noah's points beautifully to illustrate his final one. Jake Laker is the champion, using Noah's points about the Mexico game to his advantage. Jake, gorgeous win. Jake, you get Noah. Thank you for joining us. At Noah Taborda, capital N, capital T. Figure out how to spell it. Jake, you get your final word. You know what? Tell us a final word. Talk about your show if you want. Your time.
Look, if Noah disagrees with your decision, it's too bad. We won't be able to review it because he doesn't want instant replay. It's all about innovation, and we talk about innovation and much more on my show, Rookies Roundup. We hope you listen up to it. Thank you guys for listening. I really enjoyed this show. And I hope you guys listen in next time. Thank you, Carl, for hosting this. This is going to be a lot of fun. Again, follow me on Twitter at Jake Liker. Thank you all for listening. And go USA. I believe that we will win.
All right.
Come on, guys.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for listening to the first episode of The Showdown. Go find us on Facebook because that should be up by the time you're listening to this. I'm Carl Mogling at Carl_PM. It's with a K. Thank you so much to Noah Taborda. He's a little bit of a sore loser, but he's still a great guy. And Jake Liker, our favorite Jake. It's been great. It's been great to be with you. Just over an hour. Great inaugural episode. Stay tuned for more episodes and keep listening to National Sports. Thank you and good night.